Hello everyone. This week we're going to talk a little bit about Harry Potter. For those of you who are not fans, you're really missing out. I want to talk about Dumbledore, like everyone else in that universe does. So, Albus Dumbledore, Headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Many people throughout the series claim that Dumbledore is the greatest headmaster that Hogwarts has ever seen, except the Malfoys, who of course hate him. Harry himself is somewhat blindly loyal to Dumbledore. The teachers, of course, have their motivations, like he gives them their jobs. And here's my reason why Dumbledore is, in my opinion, the greatest headmaster that Hogwarts has ever seen. Dumbledore perfectly embodies all the qualities of all the four houses at the school. Now, for those of you not familiar with the series, there are 4 houses at Hogwarts. And the 11-year-olds are sorted into those houses their first night at Hogwarts based on what they value most. So Gryffindors value chivalry and honor and fighting for what's right. Slytherins value power and safety and security and those kinds of traditional power things. Ravenclaws, of course, value knowledge and wisdom. Hufflepuffs value friendships, loyalty, food, and are particularly good finders. So now let's take each of these in turn. Dumbledore was, of course, himself a Gryffindor, who burned the curtains on his 4-post bed. He was a prefect, head boy, he was well regarded. And of course, eventually he became the Transfiguration professor at the school. Which I think explains why he and Minerva McGonagall are so close. They get each other. As we see in the series, Dumbledore is willing to fight for what's right. And perhaps in the new Fantastic Beasts movie, we'll get to see him fight Grindelwald for that. Though I'm really not happy with Johnny Depp being Grindelwald. It's not. He also embodies qualities of a Slytherin. He did go on a quest for power when he sought out the Deathly Hallows, and ultimately got the Elder Wand, and at one time possessed all 3. We also see that Dumbledore is, of course, brilliant. He clearly values intelligence and wisdom. He battles Tom Riddle primarily by researching him. And his love for all living things, and food, and his ability to find the Deathly Hallows, I would say, classifies him firmly as a Hufflepuff as well. Dumbledore perfectly embodies all the 4 major things that school is about. Which is why he's in a unique position to feel that they either sort the kids too early, or shouldn't sort them at all. He at multiple times expresses his distaste for the way in which we divide up the 11-year-olds and kind of put them into tribal camps. And of course, Dumbledore would feel this way if he embodied all 4 different things. He doesn't really perfectly fit in any one house at any given time. And this is a way a lot of the kids feel about being in their houses. They feel pressured by their peers to behave in a particular way that's expected of them. This is particularly problematic for the Slytherins. Although the Gryffindors are a little hot-headed at times too. Dumbledore thinks that perhaps sorting should be eliminated altogether. Dumbledore understands that people grow and change over time. Just because you felt one way when you were 11 does not mean you will always feel that way. It's kind of weird that Hogwarts founders chose to divide children up according to a personality test. Anyone who's ever been in a social gathering understands that people will naturally congregate towards people that are like themselves. So maybe the houses are a way to kind of force people into only 4 groups. But that's of course not what really happens. For example, kids on the Quidditch team are treated very differently. And we don't really know if this is a Dumbledore thing, but I like to think it is. There are classes where one teacher will be teaching a group from 2 different houses at the same time. I like to think that this was Dumbledore's idea. He repeatedly advocates for the kids to come together and not be so tribal and so different from each other. Dumbledore would rather see the kids come together on the things they have in common than focus on what things divide them. And I think that that's an important message. Dumbledore was the perfect headmaster for Hogwarts because he understands everything that any kid in that school is going through because he's been there at some point in his life. And that's all for this video. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be back again next week with another video that I hope you'll find interesting. Until then, stay curious.